Have you ever noticed your muscles feeling weaker, or found yourself more tired after simple tasks? Maybe your balance isn't what it used to be, and those little stumbles happen more often than before. It's easy to blame just getting old, but what if that's not the whole story? What if the real cause is something most people overlook, something quietly stealing your strength and confidence? This isn't just a small problem to brush off. It affects your independence, your joy, even your safety every single day. In today's video, I'm going to share the surprising reasons behind this silent decline and reveal 3 simple, science-backed habits that can help you regain your strength and keep living life on your terms. So, stick around, because the most important habit might just change how you feel tomorrow. You're not alone in this journey. Let's take it step by step together. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Reason 1. Loss of personal freedom and space. Have you ever woken up on a quiet morning, sunlight peeking through the curtains, and felt a gentle sense of peace in the air? Maybe you start your day with a cup of coffee just the way you like it. No interruptions, no rush, just you and the calm of your own home. It's something so simple, yet it can mean everything as we get older. For many people over 65, especially those who have spent years taking care of others, raising children, supporting spouses, working hard, the gift of personal freedom becomes even more precious. Yet, it's easy to overlook how living with a partner, even one you care deeply for, can sometimes chip away at that freedom in quiet, subtle ways. We don't often talk about it, but the truth is that sharing your living space, your routines, your choices, your favorite quiet corners, with someone else can be both a joy and a challenge. Maybe you find yourself adjusting your meal times, watching shows you don't enjoy, or giving up that afternoon nap because your partner prefers to keep busy. These changes can seem small at first, but over time, they add up, and you might start to feel like you've lost a bit of yourself along the way. Have you ever wondered why something so natural, sharing life with another person, can sometimes feel like it costs you more than you expected? It's easy to believe that compromise is simply a part of love, especially in later life. We're taught to value togetherness, to meet each other halfway. But as we age, experts and psychologists remind us that personal autonomy, our ability to make choices and enjoy our own space, is not just a luxury. It's essential for our well-being. Studies have shown that older adults who maintain their independence and have control over their daily routines experience lower stress levels, better mental health, and even improved physical health outcomes. When that sense of autonomy is lost, people can begin to feel anxious, resentful, or invisible in their own homes. This isn't about selfishness. It's about self-preservation. After a lifetime of adapting for others, there comes a point when you deserve to make your own rules, eat what you like, rest when you need, and spend time with friends or hobbies that bring you joy. If you're living with a partner who is loving but set in their ways, or if you find yourself giving up small pleasures to keep the peace, it's okay to pause and ask, is this what I truly want at this stage of my life? So, what's the gentle solution? It doesn't mean you have to choose solitude over companionship, or that you should avoid relationships altogether. But it does mean honoring your own needs and making your personal space a priority. If you're already living with someone, talk openly about the things that matter to you. Whether it's your quiet time in the garden, your favorite TV show, or the need to eat dinner at a different hour. Set healthy boundaries with kindness. If you're single, celebrate your freedom. Fill your days with routines and small rituals that make you feel grounded and content. Let me tell you about Mrs. Helen, a woman from Ohio who spent nearly 40 years in a loving marriage. After her husband passed, she lived with her daughter for a while, but eventually decided to move into her apartment at the age of 72. It wasn't easy at first. She missed the sound of another person in the kitchen, the simple comfort of shared silence. But over time, Helen discovered the joys of her own company. She started painting again, hosted her friends for tea, and enjoyed reading late into the night without worrying about disturbing anyone. When asked about her new life, Helen smiled and said, "I finally feel like I can breathe in my skin. Every day, I choose what makes me happy, and that's the greatest freedom." You may not need to move out on your own to reclaim your personal space. Sometimes, it's simply about recognizing what you need and making small changes to honor those needs. Maybe it's setting aside a special hour each day that's just for you, or rearranging a corner of your home into a reading nook or craft space. Remember, you've earned the right to put yourself first, especially now. So if you find yourself yearning for just a little more freedom, don't ignore that feeling. It's not selfish. It's a sign of self-respect, a reminder that your happiness matters. Life after 65 isn't about shrinking your world to fit someone else's expectations. It's about expanding it to fit your dreams. Give yourself permission to choose what feels right for you, and trust that you're not alone in wanting a life that truly feels like your own. Reason 2. Increased conflicts and stress from living together. Have you ever found yourself in a quiet room, thinking back to a small argument that just wouldn't leave your mind? Maybe it was something trivial, a disagreement about how to load the dishwasher, the volume on the TV, or even what to eat for dinner. These are the kinds of everyday tensions most people shrug off, but as we get older, they can begin to weigh more heavily on our hearts and minds. After all, when you spend much of your time in close quarters with someone, even the little things can start to feel like big obstacles. It's easy to assume that minor bickering is just part of sharing life with another person. That's marriage, we tell ourselves, or that's just what happens when you live together for decades. But what if it doesn't have to be that way? What if the stress from frequent arguments and unresolved tension is doing more harm than we realize, especially after 65, when peace of mind and good health become even more precious? Science has a lot to say about the impact of daily conflict on older adults. Psychologists and doctors warn that repeated stress from arguments or ongoing frustration can raise blood pressure, weaken your immune system, and even contribute to heart problems. The body's response to stress doesn't diminish with age. In fact, we may become even more sensitive to it. When tempers flare or old resentments bubble up, it isn't just the mood in the room that changes. Your health can suffer too. Chronic stress from living in a tense environment can also affect sleep, lead to anxiety or depression, and drain the small joys from everyday life. But the emotional toll can be just as significant. For many older adults, retirement means spending more hours at home together than ever before. The lack of outside distractions, like work, children at home, or busy social calendars, can intensify small disagreements. When you're with someone almost 24/7, there's less space to cool down or gain perspective, and the pressure to get along can feel exhausting. Over time, resentment can quietly build, making it harder to feel truly comfortable or at ease in your own home. So, what can you do to avoid letting these conflicts steal your peace? The answer isn't always easy, but it is simple. Recognize the importance of harmony and don't be afraid to protect your well-being. If you're living with a partner and find that little arguments are becoming a regular part of life, take a step back and think about what's bothering you. Sometimes, it helps to schedule a calm, honest conversation, when neither of you is upset, to talk about how you're feeling and what you both need to feel more relaxed at home. Practice letting go of the small stuff and choosing your battles. If you find yourselves arguing about the same things over and over, it might be time to ask for outside help, whether that's a counselor or just a trusted friend to listen. But for some, the gentle solution is to embrace the quiet of living alone, or at least having more time apart. Being single after 65 is not a failure or a sign of loneliness. It's a chance to create an environment that truly supports your mental and emotional health. You can set your routines, enjoy hobbies without interruption, and cultivate the kind of calm, comforting space you crave. Many seniors find that, after years of compromise and caretaking, solitude brings a welcome sense of relief. Let me share a story about Mr. Bill, a retired engineer from Arizona. For years after his wife passed, Bill struggled with the emptiness of a quiet house. When he started dating again and moved in with a new partner, he was hopeful. But soon, he found himself constantly irritated over small household routines, habits he couldn't change, and a steady stream of minor disagreements. The stress was exhausting, and his blood pressure started to climb. After much soul-searching, Bill decided to move back to his place. "At first, I thought I'd be lonely," he said, "but what I felt was peace. My mind was quieter. My health improved. I still care for my partner, but we both agree, living apart keeps us happier." You may never be able to completely avoid conflict. It's part of being human, but you do have the right to protect your peace. Whether it's creating more personal space within your home, finding time each day to be alone, or even choosing to live separately, don't be afraid to put your emotional well-being first. There is nothing selfish about wanting a calm, joyful life, especially as you get older. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. So if you notice stress or conflict growing in your daily routine, remember, harmony isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. You've earned the right to choose peace. Listen to your heart, and trust that creating a life that feels gentle and comfortable is one of the best gifts you can give yourself. Reason 3. Financial strain when supporting a partner. Money is something most of us have worried about at some point in our lives. As we get older, financial stability becomes even more important. It's the difference between sleeping peacefully at night and lying awake, doing mental arithmetic about medical bills, home repairs, or that little treat you promised yourself next month. For many people over 65, retirement is supposed to be a time to finally relax, enjoy what you've worked hard for, and maybe even help your grandchildren from time to time. But what happens when being in a relationship starts to stretch your budget, or even put your future security at risk? It's easy to think that splitting expenses with a partner should make life easier. You imagine sharing groceries, household bills, and even the cost of travel or entertainment. But the reality can be much more complicated, especially if one person's needs or healthcare costs start to climb. Suddenly, the small savings from buying in bulk don't add up the way you expected, and the bills on the kitchen counter seem to multiply instead of shrinking. We're taught that taking care of one another is what love is all about. For richer or for poorer, as the wedding vows go. But at this stage in life, even small changes in finances can feel overwhelming. According to AARP, nearly 30% of older adults report feeling significant financial pressure when supporting a spouse or partner. Medical bills are a major source of stress, but so are the little things, like paying for 2 prescriptions instead of 1, fixing a car that now needs to serve both people, or simply trying to keep the fridge stocked with 2 sets of preferences. But here's something most people don't consider. As we age, our financial resources don't always keep pace with our needs. Pensions and Social Security can only stretch so far, and unexpected expenses, like a sudden hospitalization or a new medication, can throw off even the best planned budget. Supporting a partner financially can quickly shift from a shared adventure to a heavy burden, especially if one person's income is lower or if you find yourself paying most of the bills. So, what's the gentle, practical solution? First, it's important to have honest conversations about money. If you're in a relationship, be open about your financial situation, both your strengths and your worries. Set clear boundaries together. Who pays for what? What happens if one person's needs suddenly increase? Having these talks isn't always easy, but it can prevent misunderstandings and protect both your peace of mind and your wallet down the line. But for many seniors, there's relief, and even empowerment, in managing finances on your own. Living single doesn't just mean fewer expenses. It means full control over how and where your money goes. You don't have to worry about someone else's spending habits, unexpected debts, or the awkwardness of talking about money late in life. You're free to prioritize what matters most to you, whether that's a little weekend getaway, investing in a safer home, or simply enjoying the freedom to treat your grandkids to ice cream. Let me tell you about Jean, a retired nurse from Michigan. After her husband passed, she moved into a smaller apartment, downsized her lifestyle, and took charge of her finances for the first time in years. She quickly discovered that her money went farther. She could say yes to lunch with friends, buy the book she'd always wanted to read, and even donate to causes she cared about. "When I was married, we always had to compromise," she recalls. "Sometimes I paid for things I didn't need, just to keep the peace. Now, I feel lighter. Every dollar I spend is my own choice." Of course, being single isn't a guarantee of financial security. But it does mean having the freedom to make decisions that work for you, without the added pressure of supporting someone else's lifestyle, health needs, or debts. You can plan for the future with confidence, knowing that you're responsible for yourself and that you can ask for help if you ever need it, on your terms. It's natural to want to care for the people you love, but you should never feel guilty for putting your financial security first. After a lifetime of work, you deserve peace of mind and the ability to enjoy your retirement without the shadow of money worries hanging over you. So if you find yourself anxious about paying the bills or wondering how you'll cover both your needs and your partner's, remember, you're not alone. There's strength and dignity in taking care of yourself. Trust that choosing financial independence, whether it means living single, downsizing, or simply speaking up about money, is an act of love for your future self. Retirement is meant to be a season of comfort and fulfillment, not stress and sacrifice. Permit yourself to protect what you've earned. You've worked too hard, for too many years, to let financial worry dim the light of your golden years. Reason 4. Family and children may cause pressure on the relationship. It's a truth few talk about openly, but as we grow older, our relationships become more than just a matter between two people. They become entwined with the lives, needs, and expectations of our families. If you're over 65 and in a relationship, you may have felt the invisible tug of family dynamics. Maybe it's your adult children checking in on your decisions, or the gentle and not so gentle opinions of grandchildren, siblings, or even in-laws. While having a family that cares can be a blessing, it can also become a surprising source of stress, especially when it comes to your romantic life. Many seniors shrug this off as just part of life. "My kids mean well," you tell yourself. "They just want what's best for me." But have you ever noticed how their questions and concerns sometimes leave you second-guessing your choices? Maybe they're worried about inheritance, or how a new partner will affect family traditions. Maybe they wonder if your health is safe in someone else's hands, or if a partner will take you away from precious family time. It's natural for family to care, but what if their involvement becomes more of a burden than a help? This isn't just a feeling, it's something experts have recognized. Psychologists note that adult children often want to protect their aging parents, but their well-intentioned help can unintentionally create pressure, strain, or even conflict in new or existing relationships. Sometimes, children worry about financial matters, who will pay for care, or what will happen to family assets. Other times, they feel left out or fear their place in your life is threatened. And in some cases, blending families, especially later in life, can bring up complicated feelings, from jealousy to worry over who belongs. This tension can put a real strain on a relationship, no matter how strong your connection with your partner may be. You may find yourself caught in the middle, trying to please everyone while suppressing your happiness. The result? Unspoken resentment, guilt, and sometimes the painful decision to pull back from love or companionship to keep family peace. So what's a gentle, practical path forward? The first step is honest communication with both your family and your partner. Let your loved ones know that your happiness and independence matter. Explain that you value their concern, but you also need space to make your own decisions. Invite your family to get to know your partner as a friend first, and be patient as everyone adjusts. It can help to set clear boundaries. Conversations about money, health, or living arrangements should include everyone, but your emotional life is yours to lead. For some, choosing to remain single or live independently brings a sense of relief. Without the complexities of merging families, you can enjoy time with your children and grandchildren on your terms, without having to explain or defend your choices. You can nurture friendships and connections that make you happy, free from the drama that sometimes comes when families collide. Take the story of Thomas, a widower from Texas. After his wife passed, Thomas started dating again, hoping to find companionship in his golden years. But his two daughters grew nervous, worried their father's new relationship would change family traditions or disrupt plans for inheritance. Every Sunday dinner became a minefield of questions and subtle hints. Eventually, Thomas had an honest talk with his family, explaining that he needed both their support and the freedom to choose his happiness. For a while, he chose to focus on friendships and hobbies, finding that a single life, surrounded by family and friends, brought him the peace he truly wanted. It's never easy to balance your joy with the needs and concerns of those you love. But remember, you have earned the right to put yourself first, especially now. Families may have opinions, but your happiness belongs to you. If you feel pressure from your children or relatives about your relationship, take a step back and ask what you want. Is it companionship? Is it peace? Is it freedom to come and go as you please? Permit yourself to follow the answer. You've spent a lifetime loving and caring for others. Now, it's time to trust yourself and honor your journey. Whether you choose partnership or singlehood, do it for you, not for anyone else. You deserve a life free from guilt and full of authentic joy. Remember, families can adapt and grow, just as you have over the years. If you choose your path with honesty and compassion, your loved ones will see the happiness it brings you, and maybe, in time, they'll understand. Your life is yours, and your heart knows what's best. Reason 5. Friendships and social connections become more important. There's a quiet magic in the warmth of a friend's voice over the phone, or the laughter that fills a room when old pals gather for cards or coffee. As we move through our golden years, it becomes clear that friendships aren't just a bonus. They are lifelines, threads that stitch our days together with joy, understanding, and belonging. You might not have thought much about it in your younger days, but now, the power of connection feels more precious than ever. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Still, many older adults slip into routines that put romantic relationships above all else, often without realizing how much this can shrink their world. Maybe you've noticed it too, a neighbor who stops going to book club after getting remarried, or an old friend who's harder to reach now that they're living with someone new. It's so easy, in the comfort of partnership, to let old friendships fade quietly into the background. But have you ever wondered if that's really what you want, especially now? Here's something science tells us, and life so often confirms. Social connections are a key ingredient for healthy aging. Studies by the National Institute on Aging and Harvard Medical School show that strong friendships and active social lives are closely linked with lower risks of dementia, better heart health, and even longer lifespans. Friendships offer a sense of identity outside of partner or parent. They remind us of who we are at our core. Our favorite jokes, the music that makes us dance, the stories that only an old friend remembers. Being single in your later years opens the door to nurturing these connections more fully. You can invest time and energy in the friendships that matter most, rekindle old bonds, or form new ones through community events, volunteer work, or hobbies you love. There's a freedom in saying yes to invitations without needing to consider another person's preferences, or in organizing a lunch date just because the sun is shining. Socializing, as simple as it sounds, becomes an act of self-care, a way to keep the mind sharp and the heart light. Consider the story of Gloria, a retired schoolteacher from Pennsylvania. For years, Gloria devoted herself to her marriage and raising her children. But after her husband passed and her children moved away, she felt the loneliness settle in. At first, she tried to fill the void with television and quiet walks, but it wasn't until a friend invited her to join a local knitting group that things changed. There, she found laughter, shared stories, and a sense of community that lifted her spirits more than she could have imagined. "Friendship saved me," she says. "It brought color back to my days." You don't need a dramatic event to reconnect with friends or widen your social circle. Start small. Call someone you haven't spoken to in a while, join a local class, or offer to volunteer at your church or community center. If you're single, you'll often find it easier to make spontaneous plans or dive into group activities. Even simple routines, a weekly coffee date, a walking group, or a standing invitation for Sunday brunch, can become anchors in your life, offering both joy and stability. If you're living with a partner, you can still make friendships a priority by gently carving out time for yourself and your social life. Talk with your partner about how important your friends are to you, and encourage them to do the same. Healthy relationships are built on trust and independence, and nurturing friendships alongside romance leads to a richer, more fulfilling life for both people. Sometimes, though, the gift of friendship becomes clearest in solitude. Singlehood allows you to show up fully for others and to be present in ways that don't always happen in busy family life. Your friends become your chosen family, the people who know your favorite stories and are there for both the laughter and the tears. It's easy to think that love in later life must mean romance, but the truth is that friendships offer a special kind of love, patient, joyful, and understanding. They are reminders that we are never truly alone. So if you feel your world shrinking or your social circle fading, remember that you have the power and the right to make friendships a priority again. Your life is a tapestry of connections, each thread adding strength, warmth, and color to your days. Cherish your friends, old and new, and let yourself lean into the comfort and joy they bring. After all, these bonds are some of life's greatest treasures, gifts you can give and receive every single day. So reach out, say yes, make plans, and let your heart stay open to the friendships that make your journey richer. In the end, it's the people who walk beside us, through every season, laughter and sorrow, who help us remember how sweet life can truly be. Reason 6. Sexual intimacy may no longer be comfortable or could cause pressure. There's a gentle honesty in admitting that some things change as we age. For many people over 65, conversations about sexual intimacy are whispered or simply left unsaid, tucked away behind polite smiles and the assumption that it's just part of life. Yet, beneath the surface, there can be a tangle of emotions, quiet longing, confusion, discomfort, or even guilt, especially when romantic expectations feel at odds with how your body or heart responds now. Perhaps you've noticed this shift yourself. Maybe you once enjoyed physical closeness and now find that it brings more anxiety than pleasure. Or maybe you've been in a relationship where the subject seems to linger, unspoken but heavy, each partner quietly wondering if something is wrong. For some, it's the worry about performance or health. For others, it's simply that the desire isn't there anymore, replaced by a need for gentle companionship and shared laughter instead of passion. But here's a question we rarely ask. What if not wanting, or not needing, sexual intimacy is perfectly natural? What if the pressure to keep up with expectations, whether from a partner or society, is actually what's making you uncomfortable, not the absence of intimacy itself? The world often tells us that romance, at any age, must include a vibrant sex life. But the truth is far more personal and varied. For many older adults, true intimacy is found in simple acts, a warm hand to hold, a quiet afternoon spent together, a look that says, "I understand." Medical research supports this reality. Changes in hormones, health conditions, medications, and even emotional well-being can all affect sexual desire and comfort. For some, sex becomes physically uncomfortable or even painful. For others, the energy just isn't there, or the emotional connection feels different than it once did. And yet, there's an unspoken pressure, sometimes from a partner, from inside ourselves, to pretend that nothing has changed. That pressure itself can cause distance, anxiety, or resentment in a relationship. So what's the gentle, compassionate way forward? First, recognize that your needs and boundaries are valid. If sexual intimacy doesn't feel right for you anymore, or if it causes more stress than joy, you are not alone, and you are not broken. Communication, as awkward as it may seem at first, is essential. Talk with your partner honestly about what feels good, what doesn't, and what you both need moving forward. If you're single, celebrate the freedom to shape your life and relationships in a way that feels comfortable for you, without apology. Let's look at a real story. Eleanor, a retired librarian from Minnesota, found herself in a new relationship at 73. At first, she worried that she wouldn't be able to meet her partner's expectations. But after a few difficult conversations, they discovered that what mattered most was shared laughter, quiet companionship, and caring for each other. "I thought romance always meant passion," Eleanor says, "but now, I know it can mean trust and comfort. That's enough for me." If you find yourself feeling pressured or uncomfortable about intimacy, whether from a partner or from your sense of what should be, know that you are allowed to set boundaries. Sometimes, simply sleeping side by side, enjoying conversation, or sharing a daily routine is the most meaningful form of closeness. If you ever feel anxious, sad, or inadequate about these changes, consider speaking to a counselor or doctor. They can offer both reassurance and practical advice. Remember, the golden years are not about living up to anyone else's standards. They are about listening to your own heart and body, and creating the kind of relationships that bring you peace. If being single gives you the space to honor those needs, embrace it. If you are in a relationship, approach these changes with kindness for yourself and your partner. So if sexual intimacy is no longer comfortable, or if it causes more pressure than joy, permit yourself to choose what's best for you. There is nothing wrong or shameful about wanting a different kind of connection, one built on trust, affection, and understanding. You have spent a lifetime caring for others. Now, it's time to care for yourself in every sense. Your comfort, happiness, and sense of self are the best guides. Trust them, and know that you are not alone in your journey. By choosing what feels right for you, you open the door to a life that is gentler, freer, and uniquely your own. Reason 7. Ultimate happiness in later life is finding peace and self-acceptance. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. There comes a time in life, often after years of running, striving, and doing for others, when the idea of peace begins to feel like the greatest treasure of all. For many people over 65, happiness is no longer measured in accomplishments or how busy you are, but in those quiet moments when you feel truly at ease with yourself. Maybe you recognize it as the hush of a sunrise, the warmth of a well-loved chair, or the simple pleasure of a morning routine that's yours alone. What if, in the end, the real secret to joy in our later years isn't found in chasing after new love or constant excitement, but in finding comfort within ourselves? We're taught from a young age that life is best when shared, when you're surrounded by family, friends, or a loving partner. And there's truth in that, of course. But what if being alone can sometimes be a doorway to a deeper kind of happiness? What if peace and self-acceptance are gifts that grow most easily in solitude, when there's space to listen to your own heart without distraction or obligation? It turns out, science backs this up. Research has shown that older adults who practice self-acceptance, meaning they are gentle with themselves about past mistakes, forgiving of their flaws, and content with who they are, report greater life satisfaction, lower rates of depression, and even better physical health. Peace isn't just an emotion. It's a state of mind and body, a soothing balm that helps us sleep better, worry less, and wake up grateful for another day. The more we let go of comparison and judgment, the more joy we find in the simple act of being alive. So, how do you find that peace? Especially if you've spent much of your life putting others first or measuring your worth by what you do for those around you. The gentle answer is, begin small. Start by noticing the things that truly bring you comfort. A favorite song, the view from your window, the taste of your morning coffee. Let go of the pressure to impress, to prove, or to always say yes. Learn to say no when you need rest, or yes to quiet moments of self-care. Forgive yourself for the times you fell short. Celebrate the ways you showed up for others, and, most importantly, for yourself. Take, for example, the story of Samuel, a retired postman from Vermont. After his wife passed, Samuel spent several years struggling with loneliness. At first, he tried to fill the emptiness with activities, joining clubs, traveling, and keeping busy. But it wasn't until he allowed himself to simply be, walking alone in nature, reading by the fire, reflecting on old memories without regret, that he discovered a deep sense of contentment. "I finally realized," Samuel says, "that peace doesn't mean nothing happens. It means I can be myself, with all my history, and know that's enough." Sometimes, being single or living alone after 65 can be the most direct path to self-acceptance. Without the daily negotiations and compromises that come with sharing your space, you're free to develop a relationship with yourself. You can honor your needs, follow your rhythms, and define happiness on your terms. And in doing so, you might find that you're not lonely. You're simply at home within yourself. If you are in a relationship, you can still seek this kind of peace. Share your journey with your partner. Invite them into your world, but don't lose sight of your own needs and dreams. True intimacy, after all, is not just about togetherness. It's about respecting each other's individuality and growth. Finding peace and self-acceptance in later life is not a one-time event, but a gentle, ongoing practice. Some days will be easier than others. There will be memories that sting, regrets that surface, and moments when the world feels too quiet. But with time, you'll learn that these are simply parts of your story, not definitions of your worth. So as you move through this chapter, remember, happiness is not something you must chase or win. It is something you can choose, a quiet embrace of your own life just as it is. Take pride in how far you've come, and permit yourself to rest, to heal, to be joyful without needing a reason. You've spent a lifetime caring, giving, and striving. Now is your time for peace, for self-acceptance, gratitude, and the quiet confidence that your life, in all its ups and downs, is truly enough. Happiness, in the end, is coming home to yourself. And that, perhaps, is the greatest gift these years can bring. As we come to the end of this journey together, I hope you felt a gentle reassurance, a reminder that your happiness in later life is truly yours to define. We've explored 7 honest reasons why staying single after 65 can be not only a practical choice, but also a deeply fulfilling one. From the freedom to live on your terms, to protecting your health and finances, to embracing friendships and honoring your need for peace, every reason is an invitation to rediscover yourself. Maybe you recognize some of your own experiences in these stories. The quiet satisfaction of personal space, the ease that comes with fewer conflicts, or the joy of investing in friendships and family on your terms. Perhaps you've struggled with pressures, from relationships, from family, or even from society's expectations about what happiness should look like at this age. Let this be your reminder. Your needs, dreams, and comfort matter. Staying single is not about isolation or giving up on love. It's about opening a door to new possibilities. It's the chance to embrace who you are, to heal, to rest, and to find meaning in every day, whether shared with friends, family, or simply with yourself. Happiness, especially now, is about listening to your own heart and honoring what brings you peace. If any part of this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts or your own experiences. Please share in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else on a similar journey. And if you found this message helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartfelt conversations about life after 65. Remember, this chapter is yours to write, and you deserve every bit of happiness it can bring.